Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Erin Tim. This is Helicon West. So I'm glad you're all here. This looks like a really awesome crowd. I'm going to do something because I have a few seconds. So if this is your very first Helicon West and you feel like audience participating, give like a shout or something. All right, excellent. Glad you're here. We love you. You'll love us, I hope. And if you were at the very first Helicon West in 2005, give me some kind of shout out. There you go. All right, that was a couple people. And that's actually a perfect lead-in for my next announcement, which is that today is Star Colbert's birthday. So you're also going to celebrate Star. Yay! Star is awesome, the patron saint of Helicon West, of course. So then we'll do the whole thank you thing, which is to thank the Logan Library and Joseph, who, when Helicon moved to the library, Joseph jumped into the center of the bed. He was like, all right, I'm in, I'm all for it. And he's been like just a passionate participator in Helicon ever since. So that's awesome, and so thanks the library, and of course thanks Star, and thank all you guys for showing up, and yeah, I guess thank the city too for this space, so that's cool. Yeah, thank everybody, it's nice. We exist, and honestly in today's particular political climate, even being here is an act of rebellion. So thank you for being here and supporting diversity and our right to express ourselves, which is cool. Okay, so one announcement. On Friday, February 29th on USU campus at 1:30 in the America's Air Library, room 101, Jennifer Seinert will be reading from her book. It's sort of about, it's about how writing and yoga mix together. It sounds pretty cool. So if you're able to make it to that, that would be awesome. And then the next announcement, you guys probably already know this, but in case you don't, and in case like YouTube people don't, the Logan Library's opening ceremony, ribbon cutting fiasco thing is finally here, Monday, March 4th at 11 a.m. So if you can come to that, that would be rad. Also, because I'm a member of Friends of the Logan Library, I'm gonna do that too. Feel free, if you go to the sign-up sheet, to pick up one of these and read about what the Friends of the Logan Library does. And if it feels like something that you're into, then join us. We're kind of cool. Yeah, so do that. And then we're gonna do the thing. Okay, here's the thing. All right, okay, I did that part. Okay, Helicon West is an uncensored public reading series. We regularly host published authors alongside community writers to promote and support all levels of skill, ability, and craft. If you would like to read during the open mic, you can sign up on the sheet near the coffee service. It's actually more on that back table to the left, I think. From my left, your right, maybe. Anyway, it's back there. There's a clipboard. You'll find it. It's all good. If you sign up, I am blind, so if you want to write nice and big, that would be helpful. And if I get your name wrong because my blind self can't read good, I apologize in advance. Okay, so here we go. Okay, if you would like to donate to keep Helicon West going, we have bookmarks on the coffee table. It has a QR code. You know, do the thing. We acknowledge that Helicon West operates on the territory of the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation. Our events are made possible with support from Sugar House Review, the Logan Library, the USU English Department, and community volunteers. For our full land acknowledgement statement, interviews with featured readers, merch, and more, visit heliconwest.wordpress.com. And that's that then. So now we get to the thing, the other thing. This is the last time I'm going to be allowed to do this. Okay, anyway. So, okay, you guys, I don't know why I'm so nervous over here. Anyway, it's weird. All right, so our featured readers tonight is a group called Union of Table Scraps. Union of Table Scraps was formed in August of 2021. Many of its members were former members of the much more illustrious and highbrow group, Poetry at 3. But we, the Scraps, got together and formed our own little thing. And then we invited community members such as Asher, Blakely, and others, and all that. So anyway, we are your featured readers. I will introduce everybody in the order that they will read, one at a time. They will read, you will hopefully love it, and then we'll keep doing the thing, and then we'll do open mic. All right, awesome. Okay, our first reader is Isaac Tim. Isaac started writing poetry seriously in the summer of 2009 when he started attending Utah State University. He has a degree in history focused on South America and a degree in creative writing with an emphasis in poetry. He's awesome. I've known him a long time. Yeah, he's awesome when he's not being bossed around by cats. He's watching hockey games or writing poetry. So, Isaac Tim.
All right.
Oh, see, you just manhandled that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. I'm impressed.
Is that good? Can anyone hear me? All right. Okay, I've got a poem. I was only going to read 2, but the group, they forced me to read more.
Yeah.
Joel and
That's what we do.
Right,
We
me.
do it with love, but we do it.
Alrighty. Home. When I am lonely, I go to the mountain. Drive up from the burning land of greasewood and creosote. Let the chill wind of the canyon cool my skin, spirits of granite. When I am drunk, I go to the mountain to watch mist snake out between cracks like it has done for millennia, peeling bright mica skin from gray boulders, lost clouds looking for shelter. When I am angry, I go to the mountain to rage call the rain, and it comes down a black blade, but it evaporates before striking hot earth. When I am homesick, I go to the mountain to swim in the memory of the coming storm like a trout spotted, fat drops on dry clay, throat red like a hanged man. I ask for my father back. The mountain answers, he is here. First on the trail, a stout walking stick in hand, a scar on his lip, always forms his mouth into a smile. I follow him to the deadfall. Soon I hear the stream, see the trail now winding between the white trunks of aspen, smell meadow grass as the wind rattles green coin leaves. I feel the weight lighten. We have arrived. The break in the trees, and I see them making camp in the sunlight at the edge of the meadow. They spot us. Their calls echo. He turns and says, we are here. We never left. The skating party for my father. I reach out my hand. Where are you? Fog sits heavy over frozen meadows. The bulrushes bend under with ice. I hear the others getting further, voices echoing from the white. Then I hear you, ice skates singing, I am here, you say, and you take my mittened hand. Soon we will be near the fire, and I will snuggle down on your lap under a blanket. Flames reflect in your glasses, and you begin a story. I fall asleep to the warmth of your voice. Witches. My mother prided herself on her impersonations of witches. Margaret Hamilton, go get them, my pretties. June Foray's gleeful cackle over a cauldron full of Bugs Bunny. I remember every Halloween my mother donning her cloak, her twisted hag's hat, bent, warm, just right. She had crafted it out of chicken wire and craft paper, all the cobwebs, patches, painted lovingly, not threatening, so not to scare occult-wary housewives. All the little ones at the Halloween party would trick-or-treat at her cauldron first, wait with bright eyes for the action. Then she would let out her best evil laugh, and they would scatter, screaming and laughing. I can't stay. The cackle chilled my bones, so hungry for attention, lasted far too long. I would watch the other mothers, startled each time she belted one out, see the teenagers giggle cruelly to each other. My mother would beam, eyes so bright in her green makeup, blue like the sea in November, blue like mine. And to lighten that a little bit, this is To the World Without Eddie Van Halen. His back against the stage lights, he takes his stance, legs wide, shoulders hunched under the weight of the pick, pure antimatter. Right hand tightens, smoke swirls from the cigarette pin to the headboard, index finger raises slightly. A smile broad and manic, only he knows what this puppy can do. The pick touches strings, inception, eruption.
It's a great solo.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great solo.
I don't dare. Can somebody
Do
help
it, do
me?
it.
Pick it up, just, you can
Ah!
do it.
Wait, no, I'm not doing that right. Okay, sorry.
You're very strong and
I'm
confident.
not. See, I like the confidence. I'll work on that. Okay, sorry about that. All right. Our next reader is Erin Tim. Erin, well, what to say about Erin? She graduated from Utah State University with 2 bachelor's degrees, one in political science and one in literary analysis. And she mostly uses the literary analysis one now, but still gets pissed off at political stuff. So, anyway, she is also an avid hockey fan and is also owned and bossed around by 2 cats. So there we go. All right, so I'm going to read 3 poems. They're from a sort of collection that is sort of a fantasy of mine that maybe it'll turn into something someday. But anyway, for now, it's a thing. The moon reflects. I knew a girl, a plastic sack in an empty parking lot, whirling. A girl who wasn't. She was a mirror to whoever stood before her. She had not learned that reflecting light is how we all glow. Deep inside her body, a spark of awareness waited. The gift. The white roses from graduation are already limp and yellowing in the window of Blind Girl's room. Her mother invites her to her house. Blind Girl imagines sitting by the stereo singing Jackson Browne. The trailer is dark when Blind Girl enters. The only light comes from the muted television. The bed is the only place to sit. Blind Girl perches on the corner of the bare mattress. Blind Girl smells her mother's patchouli. It is mixed with something unfamiliar, stale clove cigarettes, oily and cloying. A short man with a dusty beard sits propped against the wall. Mother is beside him. Mother murmurs. The man slides up behind Blind Girl. She feels his thighs enclose her. His voice rumbles as he grabs her breasts. His hands swallow them. Blind Girl freezes, yet when the man lifts the hem of her shirt, she raises her arms. Blind Girl stares dumbly at her new blue bra. Suddenly, she is ashamed to be wearing it. Those clove-scented hands remove the dark fabric. Mother says, "This is Gideon. He thinks you are beautiful." And the last one is, Blind Girl Gets Pissed. Blind Girl is supposed to take herself apart. Not all of her is worthless, unlovable, angry, or unkind. Those are just parts of her. At the moment, a part of her feels pissed off. She is so fucking angry because all of her deserved to be loved. The peacekeeper inside her knows that both of her grandfathers were abusive, that after Mother raised her siblings, she had her first child at 18. That her father was bullied by a father who was as unbending and controlling as his church. Her parents didn't know how to love her. She has told this story to everyone, repeated it to herself, They didn't know how to love you. Blind girl slams her fist into the shower wall. I did it. I fucking hate myself. Have always thought the star stuff that made me was dross, the fucked cast-offs of other better humans formed accidentally into me. She screams into the rush of water. I fucking did it. Every child I held to my chest knew they were special and valued beyond measure. I loved them, even when I had just been puked on, folded their fevered bodies into mine, loved them with my empty cage of stardust. If I did it, they could have done it too. Thank you. All right, awesome. Our next reader is Asher Blakely. Asher, I was introduced to Asher through other stuff, but Asher's been coming to Helicon West for a long time. Asher, what can I say about Asher? First of all, he's awesome. Asher has 3 love languages. One is food, the other is or male romance novels, and the third is stickers. So this is basically, if you are in Asher's orbit for any amount of time, he will throw any one or all 3 of those things at you, and you will be eternally grateful that he did. So, Asher Blakely.
Am I close enough for everyone to hear me? Okay. I have 3. 2 of them have been through the Union of Table Scraps. The other one actually predates the Union of Table Scraps, back when we had the Community Writing Center, and that was where I workshopped it, but I haven't read it in forever, and so I'm going to read it tonight because I can.
All right.
So the first one is called Intervention, but we don't call it by its name. We call it I'm Worried About You. It's been 3 days since I saw you eat more than a handful of cashews. We call it You Haven't Returned My Several Phone Calls, and I don't know if you're even alive out there. We call it You're Cocooned in Your Nest of Blankets, and I miss the shape of your face. We call it Famine or Feast. You've squirreled away all your money and can no longer live. We call it Binge and Purge. I am so tired of always holding your fragility. We call it I Cannot Control You Like This, and it makes us both more than a little uncomfortable. We call it You Used to Hurt Me, but the wound is still weeping, and that may never change. We call it Tough Love, and you've done nothing to staunch the bleeding. We call it You Stabbed Me in the Back, but we're pretending to smile for the cameras anyway. We call it Moving On, because standing in this hurt is in progress. We call it I Forgive You for breaking me open and rearranging the beating heart of me. Daddy's Girl. Daddy promised to wreck my world if I shared his secrets. Tie me to a kitchen chair, make me watch. Pull the shotgun from the back of the closet behind the funeral clothes. First to go mother, that traitorous bitch. Never really loved him anyway. Then Brian, middle child and mouthy, always first to talk back. And Richard, the sniveling youngest, unable to do anything right. Finally, he turned the gun on himself, put a hole through his gut so big they'd never sew it shut. Daddy told me all about prison, where I would be alone at the mercy of someone who wouldn't love me as much as he did. The police would be forced, hands tied behind their backs, to send me as his accomplice for killing my family, for opening my mouth and telling the things we did after the rest of the house was sleeping. And then welcome pamphlet. And this one has an epigraph, and that is, it was like being in hospital again, reduced from the first person to the third, from subject to object. I was disappearing into other people's sentences, and that's from Alexis Hall's book, Litterland. Congratulations, you have been diagnosed with insert mental illness here. As part of your diagnosis package, your user designation has been changed from full human, status emotional, to pseudo-human, status mentally ill. As per regulation, under this new designation, smiles are mandatory, and displays of emotion are strictly prohibited. All outbursts shall be treated as hostile. Should you find emotion completely unavoidable, please limit yourself to private displays. Therapy and medication management are designed to keep you nominally functional. It is expected you will comply with all suggested treatment plans promptly and without complaint. Common side effects of psychiatric medication include, but are not limited to, photosensitivity, changes in vision, dehydration, gastrointestinal discomfort, and weight gain. It is strongly advised that patients stick to a balanced, healthy diet, stop consuming all caffeine and alcohol in favor of water, and give up any fun they might enjoy with the prolonged life mental health treatment allows. While many patients report loss of libido and/or diminished response to sexual stimulation, patients are advised to remember sexual intimacy is a vital part of a romantic partnership, even when it leaves you feeling thoroughly violated. Failure to uphold these terms and conditions may lead to hospitalization, destruction of personal relationships, both friendly and romantic, eviction from the family unit for the preservation of their well-being. If forced into hospital, please be aware the first document signed will strip you of all rights granted as a human being. Much like being a prisoner, contact with friends and family shall be limited to 2 15-minute phone calls per day and 30 minutes of visitation every other day. You will further be allowed no choices or opinions on anything from your meals to your treatment plan. Leaving the hospital is granted only when the psychiatrist and therapist managing your care agree you are sufficiently stable and safe to re-enter regular society. You may direct all further questions and concerns regarding your condition or proposed treatment plan to your local mental health care provider. So, you may be further stripped of your rights as deemed necessary for the protection of yourself and or others. It is absolutely vital to your success as an individual afflicted with mental illness for you to remember your comfort is not nearly as important as that of those who will be forced to interact with you. Thank you.
I had forgotten just how good that was. That was awesome. All right, our next featured reader is Shannon Ballum. Shannon Ballum is one of the first featured readers I remember seeing at Helicon West, and that was back when the chapbook Red Writing Book papers came out, which is boss awesome. You should totally check it out. Shannon has a book coming out in May, right? May? Called First Poems After the Stroke, which is full of amazing stuff, that some of which we have workshopped in our group. So, Shannon Ballum.
Wonderful introduction. The first poem I'm going to read is from I won the honorable mention in the Utah Original Writing Contest this year. And so this is from that. And it's, I created a couple of characters, and one of them's name is Thomas. And so I imagine him to be a 5th grade boy. Thomas and the Black Widow. Thomas saw the Black Widow before his mother did. Clouded in her web, hovering like a black pearl, stoic as a chip of obsidian, inches from his mother's hand. She yanked her hand back before the spider struck. But Thomas could not stop imagining what it would be like, Mom dead or lying in a coma. He dreamed she was on a white bed, blood trickling from her nose as they forced the feeding tube down. The star of blood blooming like a lily on her gown. It happened gradually, deep inside his mind. She died, and then he could not love her anymore. When he heard her call his name, when he saw her rush toward him with open arms, he'd run and slide behind the heavy curtains and flatten himself against the cold wall. He held still, imagining he was the Black Widow, venomous, graceful, inhaling the safe musk of his intricate web, his indifferent ebony eyes. And he did not move, even when he could hear the desperate song fogging her voice, the crimson hourglass on his abdomen, patiently pouring time. And these next few are gonna be about the stroke. So this one's called The Stroke. The stroke wears me like a cloak, itchy wool and hot, heavy, heavy, heavy. It weighs me down, drags my legs, trips me. I teeter like a sloppy puppet. It is stifling like a wedding dress with scratchy lace and a train that catches on the grass. It's like a lead weight on my foot, dragging me, gagging into an ocean of egg yolks, choking me, cloaking me with slime. It's like the smell of sodden diapers, rancid black banana peels. It's like a too tight bra that squeezes and sweats my breasts, like a corset with stiff boning, making it impossible to breathe. It's like wearing a leather collar that I can't rip off. And this one's called Grief. Grief hollowed me out like a set of nesting dolls, slightly different hand-painted faces, getting more and more distorted, shell inside of shell, until you open the last solid one and it just has a speck of flesh-colored paint, 2 black pinpricks for eyes, no mouth. And this is called Digging. Digging. I kneel on the hard ground in the drizzle. Clouds hang like gray scarves on the mountains, and I frantically claw dirt away. It cakes under my nails, from the shallow grave until I see myself, my blue face, a little dirt clinging to my eyelashes, smeared across my cheeks, my long brown hair tangled. Tenderly, I brush the dirt from my own eyes and place my lips to my own lips, try to give myself CPR, pound my own chest, breathe warm breath into my cold lungs over and over and over, but I'm too late. Her face, her closed eyes with fine eyelashes, her eyes closed like the deafening long silence after a prayer ends. I grasp her limp hand. I want to be her again. I want to be whole again, but I can't go back. She has been dead for almost 2 years. I kiss her goodbye. I wake again to my own life, everything shimmering with tears. And my sister passed away last summer, and this is for her. And the only thing you guys need to know is Al is Allison, who is my sister, and Dylan is our brother who died 10 years ago. This is called Dear Marcy. It's 2 pages long, so I have to prepare for that. Dear Marcy, in the wetlands this morning, a flock of ibis glides ebony. I miss you. I always knew it would happen, but I wasn't prepared for it to be so soon. We were just texting last night with Al. It was the 10-year anniversary of Dylan's death. You had just had your shoulder replaced. You told us you had been diagnosed with primary progressive multiple sclerosis. I told you I saw a monarch butterfly and things would be okay. We were supposed to go to lunch the next day. I hope you aren't in pain anymore. I hope you died in your sleep because of a drop in your blood pressure. Al has seen 3 monarch butterflies since you died. A swallowtail thumped its lovely body against the window. I think it was you telling me you're okay. I went to bed so I didn't see your last text. I have 2 yellow and black monarchs that come every day. I could watch them forever. And this is my last poem. for Brock. Powder River for Brock. On our way back from Sumter, we stopped to walk along Powder River. An obsidian dipper bobs on boulders in the navy glisten. A noiseless crested kingfisher cruises low over the rippling. I crunch consciously through snow, aware of every step. We wind our way through ponderosa pines. I stop to smell one because they are fragrant vanilla in the sun, but this one stands in shadows. The skeletons of last year's pine drops, little black balls on long, tall stems. My grief is a lump in my throat, slick and clear like ice. It chokes me. My grief is a cold black river rippling through me with brittle icy edges. I feel it moving through me. And then I see you ahead, walking in the puffy pumpkin coat, and my grief begins to melt. You wear mismatched black gloves and a red hat with ear flaps. You test the ground to make sure it is safe for me to walk by running your boots over the uneven ice. You turn and smile at me. I creep unsteadily along. You give me the courage I need to go on.
Okay. That was awesome. All right. Our next reader is Brock. Brock's gonna be the hardest person for me to introduce because, like, he has this like huge epic academic career, but I didn't encounter him in that capacity. So I guess, okay, this is what I'm gonna say. I was invited to join Poetry at 3 in 2019 because I was like a hanger-on. I was like a groupie kind of. Like Isaac was actually officially in the group, and sometimes I would come and hang out just to hear cool poetry. And then I was asked to join, which was like, what? Anyway, when I first met Brock, I thought he was super, super intimidating. And I'm like, oh man, I can't critique that guy. That's scary as hell. But then it turns out he's just funny as hell and awesome and just like a cool dude. So I don't know, Brock's awesome. He also has a poetry collection called Ancestor Worship, so that's a thing. So yeah, Brock is totally cool. So here's Brock to check.
I hope I can live up to being a cool dude.
The vest does it all on its own.
Yep, amen, brother.
Yeah. I think every band needs some kind of bass to provide a bottom, so that the upper voices and instruments will sound better by contrast. Well, I think also every poetry reading needs a bottom, needs some really lowbrow poems, so that all the others will seem better and more sophisticated. So, and I'm willing to play that role. So I've got two about dog shit, and then either one about sex or one about drugs. I can't decide which, but we'll get there. The first one is called Turd Toss. Josh is a big dog, close to 90 pounds, and the calling cards he squats to leave are substantial. A conscientious dog owner, I can't ignore my responsibility when Josh defiles the trail, the air, the view. And though I'm fairly adept at using a shitbag as a glove and manually harvesting his whole monument, I don't like transporting the mushy treasures to the trash. Not in my pocket. Thus I began carrying the scoop. The scoop was made for sieving out cat shit while allowing litter to fall through its cracks. Perhaps it's not fair to challenge it with such an enormous canine task. It rides in the pocket of my butt pack, safely sheathed in a green poop bag, and when Josh drops his load, I attempt to scoop it up and fling it away wherever. As you might guess, problems with this clever scheme arise. One, I need something, another scoop would do, to to act as backstop and keep the last turd from rolling ever forward, where I can't get the scoop under it. 2, although I try to aim my toss, it's not yet a science or even a certified sport, and I count it as success if none of the ballast boomerangs. But I fret about easily offended people on the switchback below. 3, Josh fixates on the scoop shit, judges where I'll throw it, and stands in the way, waiting to leave him chump. He's already in the air when my payload leaves the scoop. Alright, now we get serious. This one's called Don't Laugh. I write about dog shit to get laughs. What kind of spoil sport wouldn't laugh at the thought of tossing a fresh pile of golden retriever poop off into the ether, or perhaps onto an unsuspecting hiker? And I get laughs from sex. Given the size, shape, and general appearance of male genitals, which Sylvia Plath called turkey neck and gizzards, the surprise is that we don't laugh every time we mention them. And either we're incredibly uptight about sex and laugh nervously at any reference to it, or we find sex generally fun and funny, and are ready to laugh as we sprint to the bedroom. How can I get that same kind of dogshit attention with more serious, more profound, more political topics? It doesn't work to cackle, beware the Christian fascists. Oh, I could write a story to make my ideas come alive, but stories about ideas die young, mercifully. Besides, I'm not a plot man. I write for a purpose. In my youth, I often wrote to seduce, to make women want me, or at least cry. I'd love to impress the greater world with my wit, but settle for pleasing my family and others I write to and for. Since my current audience is the people in this room right now, I can see only one purpose in reading: to make people laugh, to lighten their load. But if I make fun of my hopeless hay-head hair, it's a cheap shot, unrelated to any purpose other than getting an embarrassed me groan. I don't know how to be writerly. I did the professor thing, tweed jacket and all, but I could never put a turtleneck under the tweed and confront the world as a writer. I became a writer lowercase the same way you become a truck driver. I did the required education, then took any writing job I could get, and wrote gobs of awful never-to-be-published fiction when I ran out of work. I don't have the sense of professional decorum that my bandmate wishes I had, and I'm sure that has to do with my relationship with my father, who gave me his tweed. He was always decorous, and I set out to be different. That's why I decided to be serious tonight. I'm going to talk about cancer and stroke and dementia and climate disaster, the end of the Gulf Stream, the end of the rainforest, the end of democracy, Maloney, Marcos, Orban, Bolsonaro, Putin, Trump, Clarence Thomas. Oh, if only Joe Biden had believed in Anita Hill, there might be some hope for the future. Now that we're all ready to hang ourselves, thinking about our hopeless situation, I think I'll go back to joking about tossing shit. I just wish I could hit the right people. Okay, and this is called Notch Peak. We've learned the hot way that to summit Notch Peak in Utah's baking West Desert, you better start early, which for us meant camping at the trailhead after an hour on dubious roads. You can see Notch Peak in YouTubes. With vertical drop second only to El Capitan's, it's a popular place for people with a wingsuit and not enough sense. We returned to finish last year's hike. We'd only made it to the final call, and to see the clustered broom rape, I'm not making that up, clustered broom rape. The knots of yellow sucker-mouth broom rape did not disappoint. We saw the hanging green bottle brushes of a bristlecone pine, and we did peek over the summit edge and down a dizzy 2,200 feet. But the image burned into my brain was of the night before, lying on my back on our blow-up mattress, watching the full moon rise like a logo halo behind Shannon's head. Thank you.
All right. So if this was your first night, I hope you have enjoyed it so far. Yeah, thanks for that. I love the audience participation. You guys are sweet. Okay, we are going to close out the night with the classiest member of our group, Star Colebrook. We had the honor of welcoming her into the Unit of Table Scraps this past October, where she instantly classed up the joints, so that's always good. Star is the author of several books, Walking the Bear, Thin Spines of Memory, City of Poetry, and there's a couple others. Anyway, and they're all really great. In fact, I just finished studying poetry earlier this year. It's a great one. Okay, so Star Coburg is awesome. She was the goddess of the writing center forever, and now she's just the goddess of our poetry group and of Helicon West. So, Star Coburg.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. And thank you, Joseph, for always getting us set up. I'm so excited for the library. I can't hardly stand it. And thank you, Union of Table Scraps, for allowing me to come and be with you. It's been really great. As Erin said, I joined the group in October of 2023. I hadn't been writing much poetry since the pandemic struck. And this is the first poem that I brought to share with them. Mid-October, pre-sunrise, grief sees its breath, frost rhyming rooftops and lawns. Then the sun throws its gold, sudden warmth melts the white. Thin little waterfalls tumble down shingles and angles and blades. Everything shines. And here's another mid-month grief poem, helped to its final version by the group. Mid-November. Grief drops in through seams of evening, stars the only things shining. Grief sits down at the table with dull scissors, shears the chiffon of the heart. Shards of shining threads reflect like little mirrors, grief a gauze, a frayed chiffon. It's been interesting to get down to writing poetry again. I've always had little breaks after months or years of steady writing, and then it seems like I need to fill up my creative reserves. And then when the new poems come, they seem like they're formed in a different style or voice or theme. And I'm finding more room in my poems now for nature metaphors, like in this one. Self-care. In times of drought, cottonwood trees fold their leaves inward, edges to center, to shelter all they might lose. And then, when the sweet rain comes, they throw themselves open again, flare lustrous shoulders like wings, each leaf shining in the clearing air. In December, I started writing little 4-line poems. Every morning as I'd walk my dog Rooster down through Forester Acres on the west side of Smithfield, I felt really clear-eyed and grateful to be outside, observing what was going on with the weather, with the trees along the creek. Every day, such a different scene in the same place and time as the day before. And Brock said they were like little Advent poems, 24 of them, leading up to Christmas Day. So I'll read just a few. Summit Creek Advent 2023. December 1st. Sycamore leaves cling to their host, dry gold weighted with snow. December 3rd. 3 days of rain on wet snow, brittle gold turns sodden, leaves let go. December 9th. Thin as glass, ice paints the pavement, builds up at the edges, thick and ridged as coiled rope. December 11th. Undressed leaves, deep nest, cupped in the crook of a branch, wears a crown of snow. And December 22nd, garlands of dry vines climb the chain link fence, berries dangle, ornaments, everything's a decoration. And then came 2024 and those dreaded Jan Feds. My poems started getting longer and a little darker, as befits the season, I guess. New Year's Day, 2024. January sallies forth in a blue pinafore, egg yolk sun slanting through flower fine fog, cold, snowless beginning to a brand new year. I've been reading a lot over the winter, lighthearted murder mysteries, philosophical novels, historical fiction, fantasy, some nice dark Cormac McCarthy. My next poem is inspired by McCarthy's story of Billy Parham, New Mexico boy on the cusp of World War II, starving and ill on the back of a horse, rageful and fated on his lonely way to where there would be no one to answer and no way back forever. The crossing. Seize them back, speak with them, call their names. Cormac McCarthy from The Crossing. Thin, cool rain falls on bare sidewalks and deep snowbanks 3 days into a January thaw, 5 days after sub-zero. Pain radiates, rings the sides, the cords, the soft tissue of the neck and inside the skull. Migraine, unpredictable as weather. It turns the stomach, churns and grips with clamps and roils the bowel, pain shooting and grasping a thick dizziness. I shall never call this back, not by its name or disposition. I'll not speak with it. It is not my beloved, has not ever been sweet. Outside, blue twilight falls, snowbanks glow an eerie pale green, portending something grave, rain almost invisible. It falls, twilight, rain, the sick headache, though none of it can be seen, but the colors linger, a last vestige, ghosts in the brain. So maybe I will end with a lighthearted poem, very short, golden and shining. All we need is patience, like the trees steadfast along the creek, holding their tender seeds inside hope's overcoat, suspended, trembling, ready to open.
Awesome, thank you, Star. That was a way to close it out. All right, so we are, okay. Yeah, I think we just go straight in, right? Now, we just do it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now is the time for the open mic. Now is, does anybody remember that Saturday Night Live? Now is the time in Sprockets where we dance. Anyway, that's what I keep thinking about up here. Anyway, so open mic, this is how it works. You get 7 minutes to come up and read your stuff, and we'll accept anything. It's awesome. You know, as I said at the beginning, it's uncensored, so come read your stuff. If you go like 12 minutes, we're gonna be nice about it, but we're gonna be like, bruh, you gotta go, okay? So that's how it works. If you do, so there is a video camera right there. So this is going up on the YouTubes. If for whatever reason you do not want to be on YouTube, just kind of give a signal, like a, I don't know, thumbs up or some kind of signal, and Joseph will turn off the camera and then turn it back on for the next person. So you don't have to be recorded if you don't want to. Right now, there are only 3 people signed up. So if there's anybody else who wants to jump up here, I've already brought it up here in preparation for reading it. So jump up and sign it. See, look, somebody's doing it. I have such authority. Okay, all right, we're gonna get started then.
The power. It's
I
terrifying.
know. So great. You've done wonders for my self-esteem. Okay. All right, so we're going to do, oh, I guess the other thing I'm supposed to say is we announce readers 3 at a time, so remember where you come and then come up and whatever. Okay, anywho, let's see. I've got Ronald Jensen, then Amelia Effie.
Yep.
Awesome. And then Michelle Jenkins?
Jameson.
Okay, I knew I was gonna not get that. Thank you very much, Michelle. All right, so Ronald, Amelia, and Michelle.
Oh, I regret it. I chose a hard name.
from my Valentine. And knew your daughters, the school where I was working, and knew my cousin, Mel, knew each other's kin. Never met each other. We fell in love with a little help on trying about. Till we got married, that's husband and wife. Just you and me, what a wonderful life. And God, we could be married for all this time. You will forever be my Valentine. Good work out loud. You knew Bill Wallace before my sister did. And you two together got 4 gay kids. Now they'll all broken because you're gone. Never will be hard. Santa go on. So pass the day can feel their love as you watch them. Watch over them from above.
Alright, this first one is untitled because I'm bad at naming poems. Actually, only one of these has a title. An innocent question falls upon the near-empty theater. The mind flashes with disconnected images, a flurry of sights and sounds that never align, the film reel too fast, the bell drive of the phonograph lagging behind, and the film burned and spliced in so many places, and then the record repeats itself, one groove slipping back. A minor scratch causes an endless loop, and one has to wonder why we pretend this story has any coherency. There once was a theme here, once was a narrative, but it was lost long ago. I remember a boy, I met him when I was very young, and I think everybody else remembers him. We were friends, if I remember correctly, but no one else has ever called him that. It's strange. The camera sees the world through his eyes, and although I am the film's subject and its audience, I never see myself within. I see burned and broken celluloid splices, and I know those are the places where I am supposed to be. The screen fades to black and I answer honestly, I don't know. I suppose I was there, because within these 19-odd years, people claim to have met me, but I don't remember. In the film, I see a roller coaster, feel the soft grass of a fairground, but suddenly there's a hospital and a cold tile floor, and it's been years since the carnival came to town. The sound of a Ferris wheel is set upon the side of an empty field, and the record shifts to screams and the tranquil side of a freeway late at night. The record loops again upon itself, an endless repetition of failure broken, wrong alone, failure broken, wrong alone, like the cliches of a 13-year-old school notebook that lies scrawled next to the youthful angst of his own handwritten emo lyrics, tears smudging the ink of the page, and it's strange that people say they met me because I never did. The boy had a personality that I quite liked, so I borrowed it, but he received from his peers was ridicule and mockery, so we abandoned it. And for a long time we were nothing, and then I gave a new personality myself, finally got a camera, and cranked the handle at just the right speed, synchronized sound in full color. I now try to remake the film, undamaged and full of life, but I still watch the old movie every once in a while. And while the memory is faded, I know that everyone really liked when I copied The Boy. And now they tell me this isn't you, it feels like I don't know you, but I know the film they've seen, the one about me, and I'm not in it. And I don't know if I can make a self for this new film, a persona outside of The Boy, or if perhaps this too is an illusion. It feels like I don't know me. Flashes of faded black and white and my Technicolor epic share so little in common, and I think I might have been lost in the middle. I've fallen in the space between the grooves of the record, and I dodge the diamond tip of the needle, and I know my weight slows the belt drive. I see myself in the gears of the projector as it falls apart, running a decaying reel. I am not in black and white, I am not in color, I am the burned away, the snipped and spliced, the skipping vinyl with its pop and fuzz, disassembled and reassembled, the absent actress in her own movie, a scarred starlet. So if you want to find me, the me who you say I am not, search for what the scissors and glue left out. I lie in mismatched pieces upon the cutting room floor.
Ow!
The second one is called Manifesto of Male Bones, and I would like to throw out content warnings for some very aggressive language, the use of a slur, and appropriation of the language of sexual violence. So if anybody doesn't want to hear that, I would advise that you leave. It has come to my attention that my ruse has been discovered. Yes, it's true. I've spent several years of my life conning you all, barely getting by, hiding my obvious and profound fetishes, the dark desires that drive me to all of the worst crimes a human can commit. Yes, I lied to you all. You've got it, bravo! You've discovered my secrets that I had so poorly hidden, my abject and intense desire to invade the private spaces of the fairer sex, and to wreak havoc on their bodies and minds and even womanhood itself, too. Due to my own traumas, reject the composure of my body, my organs, my bones, anything I have associated with maleness. Yes, I've been corrupted by society. An autogynephilic drive to destroy myself for my own pleasure has been the motivator for my awful tendencies. The perverse activities where I compound lies upon lies and disguise myself as what I am not. All of these were planted in me long ago by past traumas and current friends in the society I live in. Yes, I am perverted. I am voyeuristic, exhibitionistic, pedophilic, invasive, corrosive, corruptive, corrupted, a scourge upon the name of woman. This I confess to you in sincerity. The name I forced upon you and the identity that clung to it were mere facsimiles of the feminine, graceless, godless abominations of the creations of my society. I tried to be what I couldn't. Lied to my others, lied to myself, lied to the world until I cried myself to sleep every night, begging for the glory of the feminine and crying at my hatred for the masculine, hating myself because I could never satisfy my gross fantasy. My crimes of the flesh are numerous, my audacity intense, and this tumorous flesh of womanhood eats at my soul day after day because honestly, yes, I want to get fucked in my mutilated axe wound of a pussy. I want to fully display misshapen lumps of silicone on a chest that has not been mine since I began to inject myself with the new life-saving heroin of immoral and impure flesh, incomplete in any context, whether original or created, and God, I want to satisfy myself by the very nature of my deception of the world around me. It arouses me to know that I can conceal myself forever. It is for this reason that I sit penning this, alone in my room, which is the only place where I am myself. I have no mirrors. My lights are off, and the only light peeks in between my blinds as a knife grazes the place where the new heroine shall enter me. And I hide the rest of myself under blankets because I too must no longer be privy to the reality of my life, lest the orgasm I live on day after day be ruined with the truth. I sit with my creation, the result of my masturbation, the weapon of my harm against the world. I see her, she does not see me, she ignores me. She's taken over fully and has no need for my body, and I must now pray for a world where I may be satisfied infiltrating the feminine once more. I've harmed much and I regret it, and so it ends. She has killed me, and I have killed her, and only one set of bones shall lie in our grave, ourselves intertwined as one in the bounds of death. Another fucking tranny dead.
Damn.
Alright, how about a hard left turn? This one's a love poem. Also my first time invoking a muse. So let's go, I guess. Bragi, grant me the wisdom of a poet's tongue, and Freya, I ask for the divine love that extends to me to flow through me. Tell me of the endless forest. Speak through me of a place untrodden by the hectic and chaotic world of men. Tell me of the secret hidden in world within her eyes. A forest like that, endless woods miles upon miles in any direction, is suffused with the love of nature. I wish to fall upon living ground, for the earth to touch me and to comfort me as the tossing of northern seas calm sailors in faraway lands. In her forest is a peace eternal, hundreds of trees unique and beautiful, as singular and as glacier and as many as can be held in the infinite imagination. A step into the forest brings calm, and every step deeper is further from fear, further from worry. A touch of her gray mist caresses me, and I breathe her in as I relax. As I rest upon breathing earth, my back against the strong and comforting tree, she fills my eyes, my ears, my heart, and my lungs with the lights that no other can know, with herself.
Is this okay? Do I have to go closer?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
I've never done this before, so
Well,
if I pass
welcome.
out, just push me to the side here. Okay. This is called Gathering Geese. The sky is heavy and gray, a bank of white clouds floating low, all about my waist. This makes two skies, one below the bank and one above. I hope my feet stay with me. My grandfather once warned me about this. He said, if you don't see your feet every few minutes, you don't know if you are there. I stop and bend down below the clouds to check on them. They are always there. I see B far out. The bank has engulfed her feet as well, and I wonder if she has lost hers. I hope she remembers to look every now and then. For now she looks like a torso floating above the clouds, if not for the red ribbon Ma has made us both attached to the top of our hoods. I might think she were a bear or an unknown being that has lost far more than their feet. We have come to gather food for a dinner. Some would call this hunting or trapping, but we do not. In fact, we do gather what comes to us. Today we will gather geese. Our method has been learned from Mr. Cly. He is our uncle, and that is how we call him. I don't know why we don't say uncle. It is just the way it is. He told us to gather geese in the way that we are, and it is like this. We walk out into the ice flat just beyond the spit where the river has found its way to the sea. It is important to stay on the flat ice because when the ice begins to tuck and splay,
it gets creviced and can give way to the water below. Here's where B and I split up. She goes westward along the ice beach and I stay at the confluence. She counts her way as she goes and I watch. I see her red ribbon flopping around in a low cloud cover like this one. The count is the 300. She stops and turns around to see me. Myself, I have been counting as well and know she has reached her spot. I jump up and down so she can see more easily my red ribbon. Now we wait. The geese come down the river at different times. As I am at the confluence, it is my job to listen and anticipate their arrival. This is not hard as they make a huge racket like my 2-year-old brother when he doesn't get what he wants, bold and unending. Here they come. This is where I pitch rocks into the air right in front of them. I have gathered a pile so don't have to move off my mark. I reach down into the pile to grab one, right after the other. My hand disappears below the cloud bank. I pitch my last one and stand up straight to watch as the flock fades away in the direction of B. She has her binoculars set on the string of them and notes those that have fallen out of the sky. Myself, I do the same. Mr. Cly says they fall out of the sky because they are heavy and the unexpected turn required to dodge the rocks. Mr. Cly, besides being our uncle, is our school teacher, so he uses words like that. Here I take a minute to look back at B, at my binocs. We give a legs up and start running toward the other, diverting long enough to gather the geese that have crashed into the ice hard enough to have either been stunned or killed. I spot one and begin to walk out to it. Water from below the ice flat seeps up into a thin layer, then a little deeper. Soon it becomes apparent that I might be in an ice float. Here I might either sink into the sea or float away. I have to exit carefully and not in the way that I prefer. If I walk back, there is a chance of breaking through or sinking further. I slowly lower myself onto my belly, and yes, the water is cold, but it doesn't seep to my skin quite yet, as I have a second and third skin of seal and caribou. But I cannot keep my shoulders up high enough, and soon a thin layer of ice water does run into the layers and onto my skin. I stop to catch my breath, wait until the water reaches the temperature of my body, then begin to push the toes of my boots into the ice. I push off and glide back, like flying toward land. As I stand, the sheet of water, now warm, drops down into my pants and then my boots. It seems like after so many years of making and refining Arctic clothes, this would have been addressed, but the elders, as told by Mr. You-Know-Who, has made up a story to make it okay. The water back to shore is equal to the luck you will have in the next year. B and I doubt this. At last, B and I are united. Between the two of us, we have a catch of 3. We notice one is still alive. This surprises us as we pay careful attention to make sure that we don't bring back anything that is not dead. Those that are only stunned fly away given time. If we have a question, we watch a distance away with our binocs, but this one is different. It has taken a long time to come to her, for her to come around, so we put her down and walk away. We huddle up by the ice that is pushed up and laid fins along the near shore and wait to know what will become of our bird. She flops around and lies down over and over. We can see that she is too damaged to live as a goose does. B gathers her up, holding her like a beloved chicken, and presents her to the sky. She gives a big whoop to let the heavens know that they will be receiving this she-goose. Then she turns the goose upside down and lets her slide until her feet are caught by B's hands. Then, with a flip of her wrist, she bashes the head of the she-goose against an upended ice sheet. We tuck the geese into our back knapsacks and start back home. The cloud bank has raised and slimmed out. Now there is just a wisp of cloud around and about our chins. We both stretch our arms and practice flying above, below, and within the pain, our feet firmly planted on the ground. Above there is a flock of geese, and we join them with our goose voices.
That was awesome. Our last two readers are Jay and Pam.
All right, can you hear me okay? All right, so tonight I'm going to read some older poems that I revised for my MFA applications, and I like how they've evolved. So you've probably heard these before, but they've changed a little bit, and in some cases quite a bit. The first one is Starboy. It's like that myth, the one where that hero decapitates the Minotaur, shoves his bloody head into a sack. That Minotaur had a name, Asterion, means starry. I looked it up. Call me Asterion because I too was called a natural theme, especially when transitioning from the feminine to the masculine. Most called me dyke, some were kinder, called me tranny. All applauded my exile into the labyrinth. I roamed endless halls of high school, searched for a bathroom to piss in because they said I wasn't man, nor was I woman. Now I must be cautious where I venture. So many states, anti-trans action burns my nostrils. Our lawmakers succeeding, unraveling their ball of thread. I envision it. Corridor after corridor of bigotry retraced. They escape, their laws take effect, but what they don't anticipate is that I'm Asterion, a star I shine in the labyrinth's darkness. Alright, this next one is titled Ephemera. Ephemera, fever, lasting a day, now something of no lasting, reminds me of New Mexican sun, brief hour of my first finger painting, white light strike, adobe house, its bright burning back porch, upon it an easel pitched. I approached the contraption, an artist, overlooking golden lawn, silvering swing set. To look forward was to squint, to barely discern cluster of tumbleweed tossed across outline, chain link fence, even my memory overexposed, though I know their wish. Let my toddler hands forever be acrylic fossil on a sheet of paper glossy, ephemera, paper products meant to be discarded, but having since become collectibles. I made my infinite white collectibles, when into it I pressed hands, soaked red, yellow, blue, fingers splayed, shining rays. I felt pulse to smear circular the yellow prints, until each looked exactly like sun, after I declared all done, but before they could unclip my masterpiece, hold forever perfection of teensy hands, I revised, made solar circles of all the red and blue, until my finger painting was fingerprints no longer, but rotund stars, colorful constellation of ephemeral hands. Okay, and then the last one will be burying a small dead snake in Card Canyon. I kneel, as if in prayer, dimple dig depression in the tender organic, while she treasures all 4 inches, the slick yellow snake draped across her hands. If we don't bury it, slugs, pill bugs will ingest, shit out remains, and if we do, slugs, pill bugs will still ingest, shit out remains, but we insist. This further disintegration is gestation, as if 2 beings were to copulate without copula, the predicate never to be. So I follow its bead black eye, my small starless cosmos of uncreation. When will snakes silly slip from her fingers so I can rise as celestial bodies do, cloud obscured, toe mold detritus around the form, also detritus, because to bury is to unbirth. And yes, we might discover the sacred rite as sky spits rain to rinse scales, rinse cartilage, rinse tongue, tooth, trachea, stomach.
Poetry table.
This is titled Confidence. Each year, I've thought about a great word for my upcoming year that will help me make the most of my life. My cousin has done this instead of New Year's resolutions. So use that one word all year long and try to make it useful in your life. I've taken a few weeks into 2024 to think about different words and about words I've chosen in the past and how they spin a positive vibe for me. This year's word is confidence. Trust or reliance is one definition. I'm hoping to become more confident in my day-to-day activities, have confidence in my abilities and skills, and know that when I need help, I'll have confidence to ask for help, to find a solution. It's a strong word, powerful, but I feel like I'm up to the challenge. I'm not trying to do anything more than improve my life by actively empowering more confidence into my life. Last month I attended a dance at Whittier School, which is now a civic center. It's a dance for singles over 40. Woo-hoo. I've been going to these dances for months now, and they are something I look forward to each month. First Friday at Whittier, third Friday at a church in Smithfield. They are community events without any religious affiliations. Everybody who pays their $6 can dance. I meet a group of single friends. I've met a group of single friends, and I've gotten to know some of their friends from the 6 or 7 months I've been dancing with them. I've danced with some great dancers and met some interesting men and women there. We dance, laugh, talk, dance some more. And I'm there for the fun social part of it, not the seeking a spouse group, which is also there. The dances are 9 to midnight. January 5th dance at Whittier. I met 4 of my friends there. It's usually a playlist, not a DJ, so you just dance if you like the song. Lots of us ladies dance to the fast songs with or without a partner. We can really get the party started when people are just coming in. 2 of my favorite men to dance with were there, and I was asked to dance by both of them. Michael's one of our group of single friends, and he's a good dancer and easy to follow. A true gentleman, he holds your hand and leads you to the dance floor, thanks you after the dance, and then leads you back to your chair. It's lovely and very rare. He's always dressed nice, he's comfortable to talk to, and he has the softest hands because he's an engineer. Milton is another great dancer and a fun guy to dance with. Whatever cologne he wears is very nice. He's happy all the time, funny to talk to. Sometimes he knows the words of the song, so he'll sing them to you while you're dancing. If they're at the dance, these guys dance with all of us ladies. I don't think anybody ever says no to them. It was 10 after 11 and Michael had said his goodbyes. I wanted to stay a little bit longer. I danced a few times with both Michael and Milton and a new guy named Dave. Then Kevin walked up to me. He said, "Pam, I haven't danced with you yet tonight. Would you like to dance?" "Sure," I said. It was a slow song, so I put my hand in his and my hand on his shoulder. I've met Kevin before. He's friends with some of my other dance friends. He's in the same group that Milton hangs out with. I've talked with him before. I've danced with him before. But he asked me if I was from the Valley, and I said no, I'd come here to go to college. I'm originally from Bountiful. "My first wife was from Bountiful," he said. Turns out I'd gone to high school with her. He had been married 3 more times and divorced 3 more times, but never in the temple, which I didn't really care. In keeping the conversation going, I told him that I had been married, I had 2 daughters, and then I'd gotten divorced and later married a really nice guy, and we were together almost 25 years when he passed away. Kevin asked me a question, but I couldn't understand what he said. And so I said, "My husband died about 5 years ago." That wasn't the question. He asked it again. "Were you sealed to your second husband?" No wonder I hadn't understood him. "No, I'm not Mormon at all," I said. He dropped my hand and stepped back a little bit. Like hot potato. The song was ending at the same time, but normally you don't just have that reaction. He was stuttering and trying to come up with the right words to say to me, and he said, "Well, At least you're still hanging out with us. Wowza. Did he want to thank you? How should I respond to this? He's been married and divorced 4 times? And he's saying this to me like he could be helpful, or I don't know. Enter my word of the year, confidence. A less confident woman of 64 years might have felt slapped or slighted or something, but not Pam Loosely, the confident one. I bit my tongue and didn't laugh or swear or anything. I stayed and danced until closing time. I helped put the chairs away, and then I laughed myself silly on the drive home. I laughed and confidently laughed, and called my sister the next day to tell her all about my adventures at the singles dance over 40. Confidently went to the dance 2 weeks later. Was Kevin there? Yes. Did I dance with him? No, because I left early before he had the chance not to ask me to dance. My 2 favorite dance partners weren't there either, and I'd had a full day, including a couple of hours of physical therapy. I confidently left and drove myself home. There's a dance on February 2nd at Whittier, and you can bet I'll be there. Will Kevin ever ask me to dance again? Who knows? Who needs him? I'm confident I won't miss him.
All right, thank you all for coming. One more time, could we thank our featured reader? Woo! And of course, we want to thank our open mic readers. You guys were amazing.
Yeah.
Seriously. If this was your first time reading, please come back, because I'm not lying. That was so good. Like achingly good. Okay, so the last thing we have to do, first of all, I want to thank Cafe Ibis, because there's coffee back there. I think we should do that, and Sugar House Review. Okay, so the next Helicon West is 10 days after the library opens on March 14th. And the featured reader is the last reader who just read tonight, Pam Loosely.
Yay!
Which I just found out she used her last name in her writing, so how cool is that? Right? Because I got to sound like an expert. Anyway, so that should be cool. Oh, there was a group, but what was the, anyway, okay, hold on, sorry.
I can't remember, sorry, Erin.
No, it's okay. I thought I had this, you guys, I'm terrible. Okay, there's a group, okay, it's the Writers Cafe. Okay, I couldn't remember that, that's so depressing. Okay, anyway, thank you all for coming. I'm used to saying put the chairs away, I don't think you do that here. Okay, so, if you have coffee cups and things, just clean up after yourself, I guess, and, say hi to people, whatever. Yeah, that's the thing. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you.